One of the reasons why we're talking about this musical production after Christmas is because, George, I know you're the choreographer, director, and producer, and that Ebon, you and a number of other collaborators contributed additional material. Now, who else, I know this is your concept.
Right, 5 years ago, I wrote the piece, and this Christmas, I was able to actually start in advance of Thanksgiving and actually meet the deadline that it took to actually have a Christmas show. So the Firehouse, I produced that for the Firehouse and got in that 2 weeks right after Thanksgiving, or before Thanksgiving. Through 2 weeks,
2 weeks before
Thanksgiving, I got all of these people together and you know, just
opened up on the second.
and sprung this idea on them about doing a hip hop Scrooge. I actually started. That's what I wanted to do, and I had been trying to do it for the last, like 4 or 5 years. But we got a chance to do it this time, and then with the help of Mr. Charles here, Rutledge, and Daryl Farrell, who are the other writers on the piece, we were able to come up with a piece that we could actually produce in 2 weeks.
And what I was impressed with, it wasn't like a musical where you stuck in, instead of sticking in musical numbers, you stuck in hip hop numbers. It really almost felt like an urban operetta. Because what you did was a lot of the story you told through the hip hop. It didn't have a narration or a scene, and then the hip hop was like the song. In a lot of places, the hip hop was actually telling the story.
Integral to the actual story. That was my concept from the beginning, for the actual rap lyrics to tell the story of Scrooge and the epiphany that he came to over that that night where he was visited by 3 ghosts, the ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and the future. So I was able to take that concept and make and transfer it to the 21st century hip hop urban community, and there we are. So we told that through the eyes of a record mogul, produced records, took advantage of kids, gave them phony contracts and seduced them and so forth. So here was this wretch of a person that only preyed upon the poor, innocent, talented little kids, made them sell their own bootleg CDs and so forth. And so his decadence, so you give all of the decadence of the 21st century of any, moguls that you can think of.
That was the beauty of it, because when you think about it, Scrooge in his day, when he ran his little empire of a company, the few employees he had, he ran roughshod over him. Right. And when it was a wonderful telling of the story and putting it into not only a 21st setting, but really an urban setting, and it gave it an African American flavor.
Correct.
But in the same sense, the theme and the stories were still universal.
Absolutely, classics are all classics,
yeah,
and they transfer to all races, all people, and you can find in all cultures all of those same characters. But I think that the genius is that we had Biggie Small, and he's bigger than life. And, it was like, what rhyme with B.I.G. but E.B.
Yeah.
So E.B. Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge is translated to E.B. Scrooge. Right. E.B., can't you see?
See, all that was genius. That was so much fun. Yeah. But then on the same sense, when I came to a rehearsal prior to opening, and what I was most impressed with was that you had, again, you're moving toward a dance company. I don't know if you're going to do one, you should, but you're moving toward it. you've got a group of young people who you are imbuing, literally imbuing with not only how you use your technique, because it's not just having technique, it's how you use your technique, how you apply your craft as you're learning it. And so what you can do 5 tricks, but can you do 5 tricks and make the audience as opposed to sitting there I was 5 drills? And so you know how to do that. And so you were taking these young dancers.
Well, then you build that, it's built in the music, you know, the music adds to that, the costuming, the lights, all of that adds up to that kind of excitement. So you know, that's what you're trying to do. Not that I'm trying to do a dance company, but, you know, certain tenets of the theater, you know, belong, you know, musical theater, you know, that's what you learn, you know what I mean? That's putting the singing, the dancing, the acting all together. The quality and the level of technique is, you know, it's the individual person, how they are able to use that and how that can translate and be used as portraying a character. Sometimes people can attain more by being a character, stepping outside themselves and becoming something else than they can stay, you know, being just a regular person and not taking all of that and translating it into, you know, what the theater does, that magic.
But this is why I was, again, this leads right back into where I was going. Because when I saw you working, and I saw you working these young people into shaping them, molding them into what they needed to do. And you were sometimes pleasant, sometimes cajoling. You were always funny because that's just the way you are. But at the same sense, you and bring them right back to place. And so as all this is going on, about 20 minutes into the process, you come in. And I don't know if you were late or whatever it was, but you came in.
Probably late.
Okay.
I was obtaining my master's degree at that time.
He was
Working on an early childhood master's degree, trying to pass Spanish. And learn to play
So you came in,
right,
and you hung up your coat, you walked out to the middle of the floor, and you immediately jumped in.
Well, the whip had already been cracked on him already.
Well, you know what? We talked about it earlier, and you appreciated my commitment to the role, but it was deep. It was a deep level of commitment. I mean, great minds think alike. I came to George, and I was like, listen, I wanted to do this hip hop opera thing. I just want to have hip hop. It needs to be out there in the theater. People need to see it. People need to feel that. People need to have hip hop, and we need to have a chance to express ourselves on that platform.
I think that really is the point. Hip hop, rap music, rap lyrics, the actual form, art form,
the culture
is a form. You know, it grew out of a culture, but it is art.
It's becoming its own culture.
But it is an art form. It's just like iambic pentameter. It's a rhythmic speaking of a language. It is the same thing. I think that ultimately we are going to be rapping. Ultimately, because as we evolve to the higher levels, we will be, yo, brother man, we will be there, putting those lyrics together.
Saying those, and I think people forget, and I think this is because maybe it's where hip hop came from. Hip hop is something that's 40 years old now. When you think about it, it's not a new art form. It has mainstream, but then I think it's still because of the connotations of, quote unquote, the word thug, or the connotation of the words urban. It hasn't gotten, it's due. I mean, it's been imitated, but I don't think it's really gotten its due. Absolutely. And when you do things like what you guys do, you legitimize it. Not only legitimize it, you show, okay, how this is mainstream, how this is mainstream.
It became like straightening out the art, just the art.
But it became our libretto, if you want to look at the real art form. It became our libretto. So we told the story through rap lyrics and the beat, and all of that added up to the same thing. So and that's why I think it was entertaining, because I think people thought of rap lyrics really kind of telling the story. But when you connect the dots, it does the same. It has the same connection as regular conversation, as theatrical events, situations, motivations, all of that. It just adds up.
I mean,